Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Pin Tool Podcast. My name is Al Wayman, owner of Creek Road Pottery in Laceyville, Pennsylvania, next to the cold Tuscarora Creek. Pull up a chair around the wheel as we discuss topics concerning the art and craft of pottery, good books, storytelling, marketing, and creating work that matters for folks who care. Greetings, everyone. It's been a long time, and I just wanted to come back on and give some updates on what's been going on around the pottery. The Tuscarora Creek has gotten colder, and we got our first snow, and pretty early, the 1st of November, the snow came down, and probably about a couple inches. But a lot of things have been going on. I was able to pick up 2 kilns. One is an Olympic updraft kiln. It was sold to me by a lady who did pottery in central New York State. So I drove up there with my dad. It was a very nice trip. It was in the middle of October. And we drove up there and picked up the kiln and brought it back here. And it took me some time to get it going because I needed a few parts. I needed to get a very expensive basso valve because the other one was old and the button was stuck, and I wasn't able to get the thing to come back up once I pressed it down. And I took it apart and did it all. I think the spring underneath the button was rusted and may have broke, so it wasn't working correctly. And you don't want to mess around with safety features. But while I was waiting for the new basso valve to come in, I did a roundabout and ran gas straight to the kiln and stood out there and monitored so the wind didn't blow out the pilot so I could fire out for my Christmas show. This is kind of dangerous because without the safety valve, the gas will not shut off because there is no thermocouple. It's just straight to the kiln. So I had 2 temporary burners that had no safety valves on them. So I am familiar with firing without safety valves. And some of the electric to gas kilns are in fact very dangerous to fire if you're using weed burners. Because there is no safety valve or shut off, and there's no thermocouple to shut that down if it doesn't detect a flame. So you need to be babysitting by that kiln almost the whole time, so you know that that's not going to shut off and just pump gas into the air, which is very dangerous and also a waste of money. What's been going on? So, I had the October Pumpkin Trail sale here at the Pottery again. This is the 5th year, I believe, that I was in that trail, and it's a local trail, and the turnout was amazing. And I thought because of the economy and gas prices being high, that there'd be low turnout. But that was not the case. I was able to show up online and show my audience how pots were made, get them invested in what was happening here, and they showed up and they bought the pots. It was an amazing show. It was one of my highest revenue grossing shows that I've had here, local, in the shop, and I was very happy with the turnout. I was very humbled, and I very much appreciate everybody that came out. And nobody owes me anything, and my goal for every show here is to simply sell 1 pot, and I try not to compare things from show to show. I will look back to see what I'm doing roughly for accounting purposes and to see areas that I can improve on cost and productivity and things like that, and cut out loss. But I don't look back in comparison to whether a show is good or bad. simply because there's a lot of other factors that are going on. It could be the economy, could be the weather, that will influence those numbers, and you will feel bad when you actually did fairly well, maybe. So, as long as I sell one pot to somebody who cares, that is good enough for me to say that I am still in the pottery business and still selling work because I sold a thing to somebody else who cared. That's amazing to think about. Then I came in a month later. I had to start prepping work for the annual Christmas show here, and it's on the trail Christmas in the Country. And it's another trail put on by a series of businesses that are local. And I had a real fun time. I ended up only getting a bunch of smalls done, like mugs and bowls. And I glazed them all in blue. Everybody loved the blue. But the show, I think, could have done better if I had more larger items like I did in the fall show. In the fall show in October, I had casserole dishes and I had pie plates and things like that, and large mixing bowls that people bought up, and those really drove the revenue up on the purchases on what I made. So I didn't have those large items, and I was trying to, shall we say, nickel and dime it with the smaller items, and it just didn't work out. I had 2 other tables to fill, and I did the same. I made extra pots, and my wife went out, bless her heart, to help me, and she did a table at a local gallery that took some of my first pots. So it was more of a sentimental thing. I didn't expect to make a lot of money there. It's just like a small little craft fair. And early on, they took my stuff, and I very much appreciate them. I still sell in their art store, but I always try to put a table there because I respect them still very much, and I know they work really hard. They need to do some things differently, maybe, and the economy hit them really bad. But I still wanted to put up a table to show them I still cared. And so we went up there, and I put up the booth, and my wife sat that booth and sold there a few pots while I ran the home base here. On top of that, on the Sunday, that was the Saturday, the Sunday, yesterday, I went to the Scranton Cultural Center in Pennsylvania, Scranton, PA, and there were 4 floors of vendors for a holiday small business sale. It was kind of like a buy local promotion, and there were loads of vendors there. But friends, I am terrible at direct marketing, and one of the things that we're going to talk about is the difference between story-based and permission-based marketing, like Seth Godin thinks about, and Donald Miller, business coaches and business philosophers. The difference between that and direct marketing. And at the cultural center, there were people, loads of people just coming by, and I was totally out in the open, out of my element, out in the wild, and I got pummeled. I did make some sales, but I am not good at direct selling. I really don't feel like being a carny and yelling to people and convincing people to buy things and interrupting people. But that's what you have to do. And the lady at the booth next to me, she was selling aromatherapy clay that changed colors, and kids were lined up, and she was going to town, and she was raking it in with a big rake, and there I was smiling behind a bunch of blue pots, and it was quite different. So when we get down to the studio, right, and we get around the treadle wheel, that's going to be the topic, talking about what it was like to do direct sales after working so long in the permission-based, story-based atmosphere of a ground-up built community that already cares about what you do. And when they show up, they're already excited about what you do, and they're already ready to buy, versus people who may not even care. So let's grab your supplies. We'll go down to the studio, all right, and we'll sit around the treadle wheel, and we'll talk about my experience in a big show, a fairly big show, trying to do direct marketing. So I'll meet you down there, all right? All right, so here we are in the studio. Pull up a chair around the wheel, and we'll treadle out a few mugs here while I chat with you all about direct marketing and my experience with it after being in story-based and permission-based marketing for the last couple of years. So I've been taking the last couple of years to build a story-based, permission-based marketing, which is simply selling work that matters to people who care, and finding those people and collecting them in the community, and then showing them what I do and how it's made, and then hopefully they will care enough to pay me for some of the pieces. And it's just been an amazing journey, and I really enjoy doing the live throwing sessions and doing the live updates so people can see kiln openings, glazing live, all kinds of things, to educate them about the process of pottery and firing and all of that. So when they come, they already know what came out of the kiln, and maybe I can design things with their help to get them excited about things, and it's just been an amazing process. However, I just did one show, thanks to my friend Jill, who got me a table at the Scranton Cultural Center for the Buy Local Christmas event, and there were probably about, I'm going to say, like 50 vendors there on 4 floors, so there were a lot of people. And out of those 50 vendors, I'm going to say probably 4 or 5 were authentic handmade. There's a lot of different things there, but when I did the tour, I seen very few authentic handmade. So I was pretty proud to be there, and I had no idea what it was going to be like. This is the first time I was at this show. My friend Jill was like, I did well at it last year, you need to go. And it was a 6-hour show. We were supposed to get there at like 8 o'clock, do the setup. The show was from 11 to 4, and then we'd do the breakdown, and then we would come back. Well, she gave me the time to be there, and she likes to do everything early, and thank goodness I listened to her, because parking was easy. We went in, we did the setup in this big hall, and the building was very beautiful, and we were on the main floor, and they even gave us tables, so that was really nice. But we had our own tables, so we set up in kind of like an L shape and put our work on that table. So I brought 2 crates of pots. There's probably 30 pots there of mugs and bowls, and I had a few handmade candles, and I put them out, and I used the stretch cloths that stretch over the table to make it look kind of nice. And then I had my wood burned Creek Road Pottery sign I put out there, set all the pots up, and it looked fairly decent. I used kiln brick as risers. I looked around, and I knew some other vendors there and some friends, so I went and chatted with them to see how their booths were going and help them a bit with setup if I could. And then I came back to my table, and people started coming. Well, unlike in the shop, not everybody's going to care about pottery, so I had no idea what to do. I am out in the wild because it's been years since I did direct marketing. And direct marketing to me is kind of old-fashioned, and I know people still do it, and I know that like it's still very important. But to me, you should be selling work that matters to people who care. And if you have to interrupt somebody to show them what you do, it means maybe they don't care as much, right? Because you got to convince them. And that's what I don't like about it. I don't like being in the hustle, and I don't think people like hustling. And I just don't like that type of marketing because I just feel like a carnival worker yelling to the crowds, to convince them to come over and for me to show them what I have and to sell them a piece of art they may not want, But there were a few people there, and I was really happy that they were there, that did care, and they came over and they asked me questions. And I talked to them about the process, and they did buy some candles and some bowls and some mugs, and a bunch of people took my cards. A few people asked about classes. Usually the people that take cards, they're usually in it for a gift for somebody else, but I usually don't expect to hear back from people that took the cards, just because the experiences that I've had with that don't always work out, right? I'm not saying it doesn't work, and I'm not saying that you should not do it. Many people will just take an image of the card with their phone, but being out in the wild doing direct marketing was insane, and my face still hurts from fake smiling. And then eventually I learned, or I remembered what it was, and I kind of caught on and started pushing myself a little bit more outside of my comfort zone and reaching out to people and talking to them when they just barely looked at the table, So once I could engage them and ask them if they ever did pottery in high school or grade school, or if they ever did any type of firings or pottery themselves, what types of colors they liked, all kinds of things. They would stay and talk for a while, but only the ones who really cared or who were really looking for a gift would, buy it. But the most people, if you tried to interrupt them, they looked annoyed, I always thought, like, you shouldn't have to interrupt somebody if you're going to sell them something. Like, they should already be looking for it. But maybe I just need to promote myself better in that area. But then you have the problem. Here's the problem that you have if you start running pots in multiple areas. I was at one event back home for a local trail, Christmas in the Country, and that was going on at the same time as this event on a Sunday at the Cultural Center. So I had my wife cover the home base while I took the pots out there. and I was not able to talk about the Cultural Center show as much because I didn't want to cause a problem with the trail organizers out here local by promoting people and asking people to go down there for my stuff. So I had to split it up the best I could. I did one post, saying, hey, my wife is at the home shop today. She's watching it. You can go in. You can still sign up for the raffle. It's the last day. You still have bowls and mugs there. At the same time, this is my table. If you're ever in the Scranton area, come on down for this show. I'll be here from 11 to 4. And I showed a video of what I had there. So I think that kind of worked out. I definitely had enough pots. I was happy with the results that I ended up making enough to cover both places without wiping both places out. My audience up here is fairly used to not seeing very many pots on Sunday of the event, because usually things are bought out Friday and Saturday, and I start to get low on Sunday, not unless I have another kiln load coming out. And I may start doing that, but a lot of the times between work and all, I'm not able to produce that much to cover the volume that leaves here, and so the pots get a little low on inventory. So when I was out there, it was very strange needing to strike up conversations with people and interrupt them to get their attention to come to my table and hear my story and see what I had. A lot of them were just being nice. They would be, oh, you do nice work, but I'm not going to buy this now. So it's all like, okay, but man, the lady that was selling the aromatherapy clay that changed colors, she was like raking it in. And I was sitting there with my pots all by myself, and seeing the lines over there and seeing her interact with people. But I think that our price points were different. Everything on my table was $20 and up, and I think that was a big thing too. So I think what I need to do is lower the price point and put in what I should have done was put in some ornaments, and maybe had some cheaper, or not cheaper, more cost-effective items there for people to buy, and that they could enjoy the pots. So that's one thing that I need to do, like maybe small trinket cups, $10 or $15 that they could buy, or maybe small mugs, or like I was saying, ornaments and other small items that would do better at an event like that, because it just seemed that like they weren't spending large amounts of money. They're buying a lot of smalls. So, and then it rained, and I think the weather really dampened everything for up here at the home base. My wife got 0 customers on Sunday, but we did good enough Friday and Saturday to definitely make up for the day Sunday that nobody showed here. And I was able to make some pretty decent money at the Cultural Center show that I went to. And there was a lady from Florida who bought like 4 bowls, and we had a really good conversation. She comes back up in the fall, and in the summer and the fall, so she was gonna look up my shop and maybe even enjoy herself going on one of the trails that we were all having up here. So I found that collaborations in direct marketing is really good because you can split tables to shows and just put yourself out there. I think that just being out there is a good thing because there were some really strong interactions that I had to recruit people to look at my page and enjoy what they've seen there and learn about how pots are made. So that was a plus. But the other parts of approaching people and getting them to care about what I was doing was very foreign to me. And I was totally out of practice, friends. Let me tell you, I would make a horrible car salesman. I'd be starving to death right now if I was a car salesman. My friend Jill, on the other hand, she was banging it out. She was approaching people, and she'd see kids, and she'd be like, "Oh, I have this kid's soap with a toy in it, and like you use it, you get the toy." And she was telling them all about her dryer balls and things like that. My friend runs a goat farm, so she makes soaps and she makes dryer balls, and so she had a pretty large variety. And maybe that was it too, that I had, mainly a few things. I had different glaze colors of mugs and bowls and different shapes. Some were done on the treadle wheel, some were done on the electric, and they were in different colors. But I think having that lower price point to allow people to come in and buy and not spend all their money in one place, because they had to eat too, and at places like that, food can be very expensive. My other problem with going to places that do a lot of direct selling is the money grab from the organizers. So the table fee to get in there was, I think, $125. Plus, they charged an admission fee for buyers to come in, $3 per buyer. So one time I went to a show like that, there were no customers, and I knew that the place just took the vendor fee money and people just set up, and it was really sad. So I was kind of like worried about that. If I had not sold anything, I would have felt bad, but there were plenty of customers there who did pay the $3. So I think that was a good price point for the tickets to get in. And the amount of vendors that were there were, things that people enjoyed. So that was all right. I don't know. I'm just very wary of some of the places that have, jury fees you don't get back. It's like, send me $200. Oh, sorry, you didn't get in, kind of thing, or you're on a wait list. It's really hard. So I know I'm complaining about stuff that people probably already know about, but if you're new, maybe attend shows first before you decide to set up a table. Get some practice telling your story, and get some practice with direct sales. So that way you're ready and you're not just out there wasting your time. But if it's kind of like your hobby and you can test it out, it's fine to go out there and sometimes just go out there as an advertisement and for kindness and to just show people what you do. And maybe you could do a demo or something. And another thing that I did was I took custom orders. So I have a few orders I need to do. And that's another way that you can generate revenue if you're having a bad time with direct marketing. So what I need to practice is more direct marketing. I have a few shows coming up. Next Saturday, I have Christmas in Montrose. So that's Friday and Saturday. And then we have the artist tour in May, and then Bunny Trail in March. And then also in May, we have the Athens Arts Festival in Athens, New York. Athens, PA. I'm sorry. It's right up the road. And so that was fun. I got to go to it last year. I didn't enter in, but I got to attend, and it looked like a fun time. There were quite a few people there. So I'm going to split a table with my friend Jill, and we're going to see what we can do there. So that'll be fun. So that's what's been going on here. Hopefully you've all been doing great. I know it's been a long time, but I'm going to try to do these monthly now because things just get hectic and I don't get back on. But I do appreciate every person that listens. Feel free to visit my website. I post a monthly story there and a monthly update, so you can read some interesting stuff and some fiction stories about what happens around my hometown and some interesting things. And also, I have my gallery up there so you can see what kind of pots I make, right? So I hope you all have a great holiday season, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll be back on for December to give you an update about how the custom orders went for the Christmas season, because I have a lot of custom orders to do before Christmas. So I need to get on that. So be well, friends. Take care of yourselves and each other, and have a great day.